Now I picked this movie because it was a fantastic script. The story was great. It had intensity, it had drama, it had a lot of action, which I love and which my fans expect me to deliver. And also at the same time, it had the comic relief, just like a True Lies, where you laugh in the middle of the movie, but you're also frightened, you're intense, it's horrific in some instances and all that. So this is what made me want to do the movies. It's an underdog story where I play basically a sheriff that has just come back to his hometown to kind of spend the last few years in my hometown and then retire. But has had the experience of being in a Los Angeles drug SWAT team and be a great fierce fighter. But that time is over. He's now over 60 and he's now in his town, and he's now kind of looking forward to the retirement, and he's set in his mind that he's going to have a quiet way out when all of a sudden this town gets hit by these violent criminals. The cast, it was unbelievable if you think about that. Johnny Knoxville, Forrest Whitaker, Luis Guzman, Jamie Alexander, Rodrigo Santoro, Genesis Rodriguez, Eduardo Noriega, and the list goes on and on and on. So people will be blown away just by the cast alone. And each one of them has great acting talent. And, you know, from the comedy point of view, but also intensity and reaching deep down inside. So there's some great scenes there that, of course, were written, but it's always another challenge than to act all those things out. We have a cast that is from all over the world. I mean, you know, we have people from Mexico and people from Guatemala and people from Brazil and people from Spain. And I mean, it was like the United Nations, basically. It is without any doubt an intense action movie, but with comic relief. And the person specifically that is actually bringing the most comedy you can imagine is Johnny Knoxville. I mean, he's hilarious. If you've seen any of his Jackass movies, you know that he's willing to put everything on the line, including his body, in order to get a big laugh out of it. I was back in an action movie where from the beginning to the end, I was punching, I was shooting, I was running, I was climbing, I was falling, I was kicked, I was beaten, and I was in cars and crashing into cars and everything else. And it was from the beginning to the end, all action. I did a lot of the chase scenes, a lot of the fast driving with the car. I love driving fast. And there was one chase scene through the cornfield. Now, we've never really seen a chase scene through a cornfield. But let me tell you, it is an experience as a driver. Because you drive through this cornfield and you have this high corn, it's like 10 feet tall, and you have no idea where you are. And the other car is also racing through it, and he may be right next to you, 2 feet away, but you can't see it because of the corn. So this is exactly what happened in this chase scene. And so we were banging into each other and spinning around and doing all these different things. And it was, like I said, pretty safe in there because there was nowhere else to kind of fall. You just had to be worried about the ditches and about the holes. But other than that, it was really terrific. The director, it's really amazing of how he can take on a different genre and just nail it every time. I mean, the first movie I saw, I remember of his, was The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which I loved. I mean, the size of it all, and the action was incredible. And then I had to watch I Saw the Devil, A Bittersweet Life and a Tale of Two Sisters. I loved this work more than, and each one of the movies that I saw, I liked more and more and more. And I saw what a wide range of talent this man has. He is good about working with that universal theme of good versus evil, basically. That comes through in each one of those movies. What is great about these stories is the typical underdog story. And it's a story that could happen anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world as far as that goes. When you see these things in movies, you actually always think it's impossible. This cannot happen. But I can tell you that when I was governor, one of my favorite things to do was to give, for instance, Medal of Valor to police officers and to law enforcement people for extraordinary things, when they did things that were beyond the call of their duty. And those stories, when you read those stories, And I always read them out loud of what they did in order to deserve this medal. It was absolutely impossible. People would say, no human being can do that. I mean, this is how extraordinary those things were. I mean, where people were trying to rescue somewhere in a shootout, and they were running through while the people were firing and all this, and they were shot themselves, and then they crawled to someone and rescued them and pulled them back, and they were shot again, and they I mean, the kind of things that people do is really amazing. So this puts validity to this story here, because this story that we have here in The Last Stand is also almost impossible.
The plot, it centers around a small-town sheriff, who's Arnold, and his deputies, which were quite inexperienced with dealing, I guess, with gunfights and all that kind of stuff. Real turmoil. And I mean, we probably rescued a few cats out of trees and stuff like that. But what happens is a drug cartel leader escapes from the FBI's custody, and he makes his way through our town, or tries to, and the FBI can't reach him in enough time, so it's up to us to stop him and make sure that he doesn't destroy what we've worked so hard to protect. I play Deputy Sarah Torrance, and she's a very feisty, very fiery type of girl, which I tend to play a lot. She's very strong-willed, and she's very loyal, I just really like how strong she is. Arnold plays a small-town sheriff named Ray Owens, who, is sort of this, I guess, rock for everyone. And you especially see that in the beginning. We always ask him, what should we do? We always go to him and say, how is this going to play out? What should we do? And you end up seeing him quite vulnerable as the movie carries on. That, I think for him, at least me observing him, it's quite character driven. It's different than other things that I've seen him in. There's still that action element and that, strong, powerful man that he is, but at the same time, there's like a soft vulnerability that I think that a lot of people probably haven't seen from him. He has this way of making action films so much more than just explosions and gunfire. He has this element of there's, he's so good at comedic timing, like filming that it just adds this extra element that a lot of movies don't have. Johnny Knoxville plays Louis Dinkum. He is probably my favorite character in this movie, aside from Figgy, who is played by Louis Guzman. The two of them together, it's just epic. It's just, I can't keep a straight face. But Johnny brings such life to that character, He's just fun, and he's loud. His costumes are loud. But there's this sweet vulnerability. Like I said, I think all of us have a side of, like, a certain amount of vulnerability that this is going to make this movie really, work. But he is just so pleasant, just so happy, and he really gives the movie that lighter tone when serious things happen, which is great. This movie has so many awesome elements. Like I said, it's character-driven, it's got vulnerability, it's got gunfire, explosions, cool cars, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, it's so well-rounded.
I play this guy named Figgy, who's a deputy sheriff. I'm like the OG of the cast. Gotta represent. And, I just got this old-timers kind of philosophy, although I'm not that old. You know what I mean? And, I'm like his right-hand man. Arnold's a great guy. He's a great soul. He really is. I'm really impressed with him. And I've enjoyed my time around him, and, he's fun, and he comes, and he shows up, and I really believe on set when I'm doing things with him or he's doing things with me that there really is a connection. And that's something I feel really good about.
I play Louis Dinkum. I own the Firearms Museum, and I'm kind of like the town screw-up, but very lovable, very handsome, as you can see. And when the bad boys come to town, the good guys are a little outgunned, so they have to come to me. And I got all the firearms and grenades, and that's when it gets real exciting. They told me it was Arnold's big comeback movie, and I think that's about all they had to say. He's been great. I mean, doing an action film with Schwarzenegger is like doing like a cowboy film with like Clint Eastwood it's big. And and he's been great. He seems like really excited to be doing movies again, and you can feel it. It's the first time he's doing a movie in the States, and I'm very excited. That was a big reason I wanted to do the film as well. I saw The Good, Bad, and the Weird, and it's just, he shoots an amazing action film. There's just so much going on, and the tone is just spot on, and there's humor, which you don't see a lot in action films. But he's really talented. He gives very precise direction. I've never had a director give such precise direction. So I'm having a ball.
First thing I thought was about Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's true. I mean, I was so exciting. I was reading the script, and I had to stop and say, God, I'm gonna fight against Governator. I'm gonna fight against Terminator. I'm gonna fight against Arnold. So he was like, I grew up watching his films. So it's a kind of, I don't know, he's part of the action cinema history. So I feel so honored to be here and to be part of this movie and to fight against him. And let's see who's gonna win. Gabriel Cortez is, first of all, he's the villain. He's the bad guy, the badass in this movie, and they are running behind him. So he's already stereotype. He's the villain. I feel so proud to be here because it's an action movie, it's a Hollywood movie, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's back. I'm playing the villain, and besides that, the cast is fabulous. So then we got a Korean director who is a really special guy, really personal director who is bringing his own personality to this movie. So it's gonna be a really weird, interesting movie.
I think most of us, and I can't hide this, I came on board a lot when I heard that Arnold was going to do this movie. And I think he's so respected in the industry, and he's so loved. So it's a chance to work with him and just shake his hand and say, thank you. It's a very daring comeback for a guy called Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is a living legend, I hope, a living legend for many, many, many years. And we around him is just proud to be part of his team and to help to create a fantastic comeback. And he's an awesome guy to be around, and we have a fantastic director.
What was really exciting about this movie was, I think the 12-year-old that lives inside me really screamed, like, what? You're doing a movie with Arnold? I mean, really? It's Conan, man. It's freaking Terminator. I mean, that's awesome, man. We're really doing it. And I agree. I said, yep, we're doing it. And also, you know, knowing that I would be working with Ji-woon, which is a fantastic director. Arnold is an institution. I mean, and he said it. I'll be back. He said it. He is back, definitely. Fighting besides Arnold, well, I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, was a bit intimidating, but then you step on set, and Arnold gives you that look, and you know you can do it. It's, you know, his confidence feeds you. It's very inspiring. There was this scene that we've been shot at, and Dinkum is shot on the ground, and Martina has to cross the street and rescue Dinkum. And Owens is here, and he shouts at me, go, 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 I cover you. With that look. I look at him, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going, man. I'm going. It's a freaking Terminator watching my back. I'm going. I didn't even think about it. Just, you feel like you're invincible somehow. All the stunt work that I had a chance to do in this one, it's just pretty awesome, man. My favorite, you know, sequence is the bus sequence, where I'm driving the bus and the bad guy lands on the roof, which starts to fire at me. I have to drive with one hand and I'm firing at him with the other hand while I'm driving until I finally kill him, and then I just get the bus into a 180 spin, back door flies open, and there's Arnold just firing like a huge big machine gun. It's just the craziest, coolest thing.